Imagine waking up to news that one of America's iconic truck manufacturers is drastically changing course. Today, we delve into the seismic shift at Ram Trucks as they announce the closure of several manufacturing plants across the United States. What does this mean for the future of American automotive manufacturing and the broader industry? Join me as we uncover the reasons behind Ram's decision and explore its implications in this deep dive into the automotive industry's evolving landscape. Ram Trucks, a cornerstone of American automotive manufacturing, has long symbolized durability, performance, and the spirit of hard work. From its roots in Dodge's truck division to becoming a standalone brand under Stellantis, Ram has built a loyal following with its rugged lineup of trucks that cater to both personal and commercial needs. Recently, Ram Trucks shocked many with its decision to shutter several manufacturing plants in the U.S. This move, part of a broader strategy by Stellantis, aims to consolidate production and streamline operations amidst shifting market dynamics and economic pressures. Rising production costs, supply chain disruptions, and global economic uncertainties have put immense pressure on automotive manufacturers, forcing tough decisions to ensure long-term sustainability. The shift towards electric vehicles, EVs, and the growing demand for sustainable transportation options have reshaped consumer preferences. Ram's decision reflects an industry-wide pivot towards future technologies and environmental stewardship. The closure of these plants has significant implications beyond corporate boardrooms. Local economies that depend on these manufacturing facilities will feel the impact, with potential job losses and economic ripple effects affecting communities that have long been tied to Ram's presence. As Ram restructures its manufacturing footprint, Stellantis aims to optimize resources and invest in next-generation technologies. This strategic realignment underscores the complexities faced by global automakers in balancing tradition with innovation in an increasingly competitive market. What does the future hold for Ram Trucks and American automotive manufacturing? With ongoing investments in electric and autonomous technologies, Ram seeks to redefine its legacy while navigating a transformative era in transportation. Ram Trucks is more than just a brand. It's a symbol of American strength and blue-collar pride. For decades, Ram vehicles were assembled in heartland cities like Warren and Sterling Heights, Michigan, towns whose very economies were built around the hum of assembly lines and the pulse of industrial labor. These plants didn't just make trucks, they made communities. Generations of families worked inside these facilities, passing down skills, pride, and pensions. Ram's domestic operations were a key pillar of Chrysler's legacy and continued to anchor the brand when it became part of Fiat Chrysler Automobiles and later Stellantis. With the Ram 1500 heavy-duty trucks and commercial ProMaster vans, Ram plants help power a segment that consistently ranked among the most profitable in the auto industry. The sound of robotic arms welding steel, the smell of fresh paint, the synchronized choreography of thousands of workers in boots and uniforms. It was all part of a deeply American tradition. That legacy now stands at a crossroads. So why would Ram walk away from this deep American manufacturing heritage? The answer, as always, lies in a tangled web of economic pressures, global corporate strategy, and changing consumer landscapes. First, the brutal math. Producing vehicles in the United States is expensive. Labor costs are higher, regulatory compliance is stricter, and materials and logistics come at a premium, especially post-pandemic, when global supply chains remain fragile and inflation continues to affect industrial operations. Stellantis, Ram's parent company, is under growing pressure to increase margins and fund its transition to electric vehicles. That requires capital, and lots of it. By shutting down U.S. plants and consolidating operations in countries with cheaper labor and government incentives, Stellantis can reallocate billions into battery tech, EV platforms, and new product development. In addition, Ram is trying to avoid becoming obsolete in a fast-changing market. Gasoline-powered pickups are starting to face environmental scrutiny, and Ram needs to pivot before government penalties and consumer disinterest make their core lineup look dated. In essence, the shutdowns are an attempt to trade legacy for longevity, a short-term cut to survive the long game. For the thousands of workers who built their lives around Ram plants, this isn't a corporate restructuring. It's a personal catastrophe. These aren't just job losses. They're the collapse of entire local economies. When a Ram plant shuts down in a town like Belvidere, Illinois, or Sterling Heights, Michigan, it doesn't just affect the people on the assembly line. Local suppliers, Restaurants, contractors, maintenance crews, even schools and local tax bases, everyone suffers. It's a domino effect that can decimate entire working-class communities. Imagine spending 20 or 30 years on the factory floor, raising a family on a union wage, only to be told one day that your job is gone and that it's not coming back. These closures are especially painful in areas that already suffered from previous waves of deindustrialization during the 1980s and early 2000s. Many workers feel betrayed. After all, they stood by the company through recessions, bailouts, and the 2009 bankruptcy crisis. Now, in a moment of historic profits for Stellantis, they're being discarded for the sake of efficiency. For many, this isn't just economic loss, it's emotional devastation. One of the biggest questions surrounding the plant closures is, what happens to the trucks themselves? Will Ram 1500s and heavy-duty models still be made in America? Or will production move to Mexico, Canada, or even Europe? There's already concern among consumers that the quality and craftsmanship of Ram vehicles could decline if operations are outsourced. Ram has spent decades building a reputation for premium interiors, muscular performance, and durable reliability, qualities closely tied to American craftsmanship. Moving production elsewhere may lower costs, but could it also alienate the very buyers who've been loyal to Ram because of its American identity? There's also the matter of pricing. Will trucks become more affordable because of cheaper production? Or will inflation, tariffs, and the costs of EV components drive prices even higher? Ram has yet to answer these questions clearly, and that silence is making both customers and dealers nervous. To understand Ram's decision, we need to look at Stellantis, the mega conglomerate that owns brands like Jeep, Dodge, Peugeot, Citroën, and Alfa Romeo. Stellantis isn't just operating on American soil, it's managing a global chessboard. CEO Carlos Tavares has made it clear, the company must be agnostic about where things are built. In other words, wherever it's cheaper, faster, and more favorable, that's where production will go. Stellantis is betting big on electric vehicles, and they're investing billions in new gigafactories in Canada, Europe, and beyond. The U.S. plants, many of which are older, unionized, and expensive to retool, are being viewed as liabilities rather than assets. From Stellantis' perspective, shutting them down isn't betrayal, it's optimization. But that doesn't sit well with American workers, lawmakers, or buyers. For a brand like Ram, whose appeal is built on patriotism and toughness, becoming a pawn in a European-led conglomerate's globalization strategy may prove to be a risky move. The United Auto Workers Union isn't taking this lying down. They've already launched protests, threatened strikes, and are lobbying Congress for action. UAW leaders see this as part of a larger trend of automakers pocketing profits while gutting American jobs. The timing is especially bitter. Stellantis just posted multi-billion-dollar profits while simultaneously announcing shutdowns. The message it sends? Profits over people. The union is demanding that automakers guarantee new investments in U.S. plants, especially as they move toward EV production. There's also growing political pressure. Lawmakers from both parties are beginning to frame this as an issue of national industrial policy. Should American tax incentives go to companies that offshore production? Should there be stronger labor protections in green transition deals? These aren't just labor issues, they're election issues, and Ram might have unwittingly walked into the middle of a political storm. With plants closing, production shifting, and the brand's identity in flux, one has to ask, is this the end of Ram as we know it? Could it become another victim of corporate consolidation, another badge on a spreadsheet rather than a symbol of working-class America? The brand's electrification plans, like the Ram 1500 REV and Ram Charger, are still developing, but there's uncertainty about where they'll be built and how they'll be received by loyal truck buyers. If Ram stops being built in America, does it stop being Ram? Will buyers switch to Ford or Chevy, who continue to tout their American-made credentials? Or will consumers simply follow the technology, regardless of origin? The truth is, Ram stands at crossroads. The brand can evolve and survive, but it risks losing the very soul that made it special. Once you lose the trust of your base, especially in the truck world, it's almost impossible to get it back. Ram shutting down U.S. plants isn't just another headline in the business section. It's a pivotal moment in the story of American industry. It's about more than trucks. It's about what we value, what we protect, and what we're willing to let go. For decades, Ram stood as a testament to American manufacturing. Now, it's at the center of a storm involving globalization, automation, environmental change, and economic survival. The decisions Stellantis and Ram make today will shape not only the future of the brand, but the future of millions of workers, families, and consumers. Whether this is the beginning of a bold transformation or the slow unraveling of an icon remains to be seen. Ram's future is being reshaped by a seismic shift toward electrification, a move that mirrors broader trends across the global automotive industry, but with distinct implications for the brand's manufacturing footprint. Once a symbol of all-American V8-powered brute force, Ram is now at a critical inflection point where internal combustion is giving way to battery-electric propulsion. This isn't just a product change. It's a re-engineering of the entire production ecosystem. To stay competitive with Ford's F-150 Lightning and Chevrolet's Silverado EV, Ram is rolling out a new generation of electric trucks like the Ram 1500 REV and the Ramcharger, a plug-in hybrid with a range-extending gasoline engine designed to bridge the gap between old-school truck buyers and EV newcomers. These models won't be built on Ram's traditional platforms or in its legacy facilities. Instead, they require Stellantis' next-generation SDLA frame, architecture, optimized for battery packs, electric drivetrains, and new forms of software integration. Building these trucks involves different assembly methods, supply chains, and labor skills, none of which are easily retrofitted into Ram's aging American plants. As such, Ram's manufacturing evolution is not just about going electric. It's about tearing down and rebuilding where and how Ram trucks are made from the ground up. One of the most painful consequences of Ram's transformation is the steady decline, and in many cases, outright closure, of its traditional U.S. manufacturing plants. Facilities like the one in Belvidere, Illinois, which previously produced vehicles like the Jeep Cherokee, have already been idled or are being gutted for other purposes. Others, like the Warren Truck and Sterling Heights assembly plants in Michigan, face either reduced capacity or uncertain futures as Stellantis reevaluates which locations merit expensive upgrades. The truth is, these factories were built for a different era, an era when American-made trucks dominated the market without the pressure of global competition, electric mandates, or climate regulation. Now, in a world driven by environmental targets, digital architecture, and cost-cutting pressures, these plants are being left behind. Stellantis has made it clear. The cost to retool many of these facilities for EV production is simply too high. Combined with ongoing tensions with the United Auto Workers, political scrutiny, and operational rigidity, these plants are increasingly viewed not as assets, but as liabilities. The symbolism is devastating. Plants that once employed thousands and formed the industrial backbone of working-class communities are being quietly shuttered or sidelined in favor of more flexible options abroad. The result is a slow hollowing out of Ram's physical and emotional connection to its American workforce and customer base. While American factories face uncertainty or extinction, Ram is quietly expanding its manufacturing operations across the southern border. Plants in Toluca and Saltillo, Mexico, which already assemble components and finish trucks, are becoming key nodes in Ram's new global production network. This expansion is not accidental. It's driven by financial logic. Labor costs in Mexico are dramatically lower than in the U.S., environmental and labor regulations are more relaxed, and trade protections under the USMCA allow for tariff-free exports to the American market, making it an ideal location to produce high-margin vehicles without sacrificing profitability. Additionally, these facilities are being modernized and retooled more aggressively than their American counterparts, with a clear focus on electric drivetrain compatibility and future scalability. Ram's executives, under the guidance of Stellantis CEO Carlos Tavares, view this shift as a necessary realignment to survive and thrive in an increasingly cutthroat automotive landscape. But this move raises fundamental questions about the brand's identity. What happens when an all-American truck is built predominantly in a foreign country? Can Ram maintain its patriotic image when the badge says, "Made in Mexico"? That dilemma doesn't just affect marketing.